What if your brain wasn't stuck? It was just following an old map that nobody ever updated. And what if healing wasn't positive thinking or managing symptoms, but literally rewriting the pathways your trauma drew for you? Today we're digging into psilocybin. Not the folklore, not the hype, but the science of why researchers think it might help the brain unlock, reconnect, and finally breathe again. It's about understanding how your mind and your nervous system can shift when the right doorway finally opens. This is Francisca. This is My Mid-Crisis Life, and today is Monday Mindset. Before we dive in, if you're on your healing journey, hit subscribe. This is where we learn the science, the psychology, and the tools to actually change. All right, let's get into it. So what if healing wasn't about managing symptoms, but about rewiring the brain itself? What if trauma, depression, and emotional numbness weren't life sentences, just pathways that could be rewritten? Today, we're diving into psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and why scientists are finally taking them seriously. Okay, so psilocybin isn't new. Our ancestors have been sitting in ceremony with it for thousands of years. We're the new ones, rediscovering what they already knew. Modern research suggests psilocybin may do something most medications struggle with. Not just change how we feel for a few hours, but change how the brain is wired. So less coping, more transforming. So when psilocybin enters the body, it converts to psilocin, which binds to our serotonin receptors, the ones that are tied to mood, perception, creativity, emotional processing. But here's the part that matters. It appears that psilocybin allows us to increase our neuroplasticity. Translation, the brain becomes more flexible, less rigid, less stuck in the old trauma loops, more able to generate new neural pathways and potentially new neurons entirely. Think of it like upgrading the brain from locked doorways to open corridors. See, because the trauma that we've experienced creates grooves in the mind, survival patterns, defense responses, emotional shutdown. And the thing is, you don't choose them, you default to them. Psilocybin seems to soften those grooves, and people report from all of the research that's being done, being able to access emotions that they could not previously reach, releasing suppressed memories in a way that feels safe, being able to see themselves without shame or distortion, and a feeling, a knowing of reconnecting to meaning, to connection, and to humanity generally. So it's not about escaping pain. It's about facing it with support, compassion, and clarity. This is why research teams are super excited, not because it makes you happy, but because it may help you heal what made you unhappy in the first place. But here's the missing piece most people overlook. Before we think we're safe or unsafe, our nervous system decides for us because we live in just two baseline states: safe, regulated, open, or unsafe, survival mode, defended. This thing called the vagus nerve is like the switchboard of our body. It's connected to every single piece of our body, and it's constantly scanning the world asking, are we safe or do we need to protect, right? And if it senses threat, real threat, perceived threat, remembered threat, then the body fires up these old survival pathways, either, shutdown, anxiety, hypervigilance, anger, avoidance, not because we're dramatic, unstable, or broken, but because our body is trying to keep us alive in a moment that already ended. So trauma teaches the nervous system to over-identify threat. So when something reminds the body of a past danger, even vaguely, we react like it's happening all over again. That's why healing isn't just mindset. It's neurological retraining. It's teaching the vagus nerve that the war is over. You're safe now. And this is where psilocybin gets interesting. So clinical studies are finding that even 1 to 2 guided sessions can lead to a rapid reduction in depressive symptoms, a massively improved emotional openness, sustained benefits for weeks or even months later, and relief in cases where typical antidepressants have failed. Because if trauma is a stuck survival loop, psilocybin seems to offer the brain a moment of permission to rewire, to lay down new neural pathways, to bring the vagus nerve out of battle mode and back into connection. And early trials looking at neurogenesis and trauma recovery hint that we might finally have a tool that supports not just thinking differently, but feeling differently from the nervous system upwards. But here's the thing. Psilocybin is not a magic fix. It's not take a mushroom, solve your life. Most studies include preparation, therapeutic support, integration afterwards. And the transformation comes from the combination of those things, the brain opening, and then the person choosing to change and choosing to practice that change and embed that change every day after. Because without integration, you can just slip straight back into the old self. The medicine isn't the cure, it's the key, it's the signpost. But you still have to walk through the door. However, if this research keeps moving in the way that it's moving, we might be looking at one of the most important mental health tools of our lifetime. Not a band-aid, but a reset, a repair, a remembering. So the real question isn't, do mushrooms heal people? The question is, what becomes possible when a human being finally has the neural room to heal themselves? This is psilocybin, and this has been Monday Mindset. If this landed, sit with it. Let your body catch up. And if you want more tools and more clarity, hit subscribe and come back on Thursday for Chrysalis Tools. This is Moment Crisis Life, and you don't have to heal alone.